This is the second example from 3.1 day 1, and we are talking about exponentials. So we have a graph here. We're going to write an exponential function for this graph given 2 points. Now we do need to know that it's an exponential, because that will tell us we use this general form y equals a times b to the x. So we're going to start with that formula. We've got these 2 different points. Now it's important to note that we have the point 0, 2. That is the y-intercept. That is the initial value. If you don't have that one, this is going to be a lot harder to do. But in this case, we've got 0, 2. Here's how we're going to start this. Let's plug it into our equation, which 0 is x, 2 is y. So we have 2 equals a times b to the 0. Now remember that anything to the 0 power is 1. So that just basically drops out, and we get that a is equal to 2. So that's an important piece to start with here. We've got a is equal to 2. If we're looking at this formula here, that's half of what we need. The other part that we need is b. Once we find b, we'll be able to state what is our formula for the exponential function going through those 2 points. So now that I have a, I have just basically some extra information. I'm going to shift over to using the point 3, 8. So I'm going to plug that in for y and x. So 8 goes in for y. And we now know that a is 2, and we don't know what b is, so we're going to leave it as just b. And then our exponent here is going to be 3. So now we can essentially solve this one for b. That's the only thing missing. We'll divide by 2. 4 equals b cubed, and then you can cube root both sides of this equation, making b equal to cube root of 4. Now that's some nasty decimal number, who knows? We can just leave it like that. That's totally fine. So now we've got a and we've got b, and so my final function or final formula I can have here, I just plug that right in, and we get 2 times cube root of 4 to the x. Now one little side note on this one, you might notice in the book when you're checking the problems you're checking the answers on these problems, is that the books doesn't look like this. The book has a fraction exponent instead. Now I'm totally okay with you having it look like this, but if you want to make it look like the book, let's do a little side note over here. If you want to make this look like the book, y equals 2 times the cube root of 4 to the x. Remember that any root can be represented as a fractional exponent. So in this case, that's the same thing as 4 to the 1/3 power is a third root, and then to the x. The other thing I can do with this is I can multiply the 2 exponents together. That's an exponent rule that you can use. And so y equals 2 times 4 to the x over 3 is the last thing that we could do with this. So this is completely optional again, but if you want to make it look exactly like what's in the book, this is another way to do it. However, I am completely fine with this as an answer once you go through this process.